What's up, guys? It's your host Spartanic Arts DxD back with another high school DxD related video, and today we have What If Issei Uncovered the Truth, Part 9. If at all possible, let's try to hit 300 to 400 likes, and if you guys want to know exactly when I upload / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Man, was this episode a banger. Part 10 is going to be like maybe 3 to 4 hours. I don't even know how to reply this, but luckily we're on part 9 for me, right? So without further ado, let's go and thank my balance breakers and Juggernaut Drive members: Lachlan Yates, Ant Lewis, Anthony Lewis, Zapper363, Night Ammo, and Nuka Booga Uba. Thank you so much for becoming a balance breaker to Juggernaut Drive member. I cannot appreciate you guys enough. And obviously, I record over on my Patreon as well. Like, I'm starting to do other stuff as well, and I release like early, like 10 to 40 minute clips of the next like episodes on there. Well, if you guys want to know about that stuff, but let's go and thank my Patreon members: Smells Noise, Lachlan Yates, Godkiller, CJ Morales, Mark Bakeland, Lord Fluff, Zero Fusion 4863, and Rise Owens and David. My boy David, don't worry, I did not forget about you. So without further intrusion, ladies and gentlemen, I won't hold you guys back anymore. Let's go ahead and get into part 9. Chapter 9. Scene: Violence. The seventh circle of hell, deep underneath the crust of the underworld. That is where the 9 circles reside. And as the circles continue, they only go deeper and deeper down. The place is the hell of blasphemers, murderers, martyrs, suicide victims, and sodomites. This is who were filled with bloodlust, forsook their creator. They are victims trapped in this hell. I am trapped along here with them, and the dragon host filled with bloodlust. They are the ones I am here with. 1 week, according to my rival, Volley. 1 week, according to my rival Volley. We are trapped here for 1 week, around the same amount of time I spent training in Kyoto. I suppose he made it that way for an ironic purpose. Now, I have to remain in this demand place and survive against this bastard's attacks. The unfortunate part is that I don't know how much time is passing in this place. It's because of the nature of this place. Regardless, I am trapped here, and I have to fight Volley to survive. However, as the time passed, what stood out most to me was not our battles, but rather something else entirely. Doom! What's wrong, Issei? What's wrong, Issei Hyodo? Your speed in that form is impeccably faster than mine, but you haven't fully gotten control over it. It is not the form you used against you, Long. Is that not the form that meant to honor the messenger god of Olympus? Show me the skill and control the Sun Wukong blessed you with. And control the skill that Sun Wukong blessed you with. Alright, you want it? You got it! Every time we fought, Volley forced me into using different forms. Every time was a different fight with a different form. There were even times that we fought in our base forms using our basic gears, but the times that stuck out to me were usually the times of rest. I suppose that's enough for now. Volley dispersed his armor and sat on the floor in the middle of the island. I caught my breath as I dispelled my armor. Huh? Now we take a break? Dang, that battle was crazy. I groaned as I sat down back to back against Volley with a sigh. What are you doing? Huh? What? He eyed me suspiciously for some reason. After a few seconds, he scoffed and looked away. Huh, what a fucking weirdo. I looked to the red clouded sky. I could see the purple lightning sparking through and around it. This whole place is in red. Even off to this distance, it's just red, and I can't even tell if there's an end to this place. I know there has to be because simply of the nature of it, but I can't help but feel it goes on forever. Honestly, what the is up with this place? I feel like I've been here for 2 days already, but I can't even tell. Despite the fact that I get tired, I don't feel or like get sleepy or anything. Or just maybe it's just because I can't tell how much time has actually passed. So it's not time to sleep? I can't tell. Moreover, it feels like my senses are up. Like, how come? I'm not hungry. I haven't gotten hungry all the time since coming here. I feel like I've been here for so long, enough to be starving. I'm not thirsty either. Don't feel horny either. You might think, of course not, but hey, you know me. Sometimes I fantasize, but here it is, I can't even fantasize about It feels like my fantasies become fuzzy. It's even like there are some times when I don't remember certain things. Is this place some sort of up on effects on me? I decided to ask in my curiosity. Oh, Volley, is there something up at this place? I feel like I've been down here for a while now, but I can't even tell. I'm not hungry, horny, or thirsty, or some kind of explanation of that? Volley answered blankly. In a place like this, your senses are dulled. You cannot feel hunger, lust, thirst, exhaustion, time, or pain properly. Physical necessities like food and drink become obsolete. The time you feel passing is not real. Despite being in a place that is meant to last for eternity anyway, the nature of this place is set that it is meant to stimulate the feeling of eternity even after just being here for less than an hour. Truthfully, there is no way to know how much time has passed until we escape. We wait until the magic circle equations I have set automatically bring us back, or we're done in 1 week. Until then, we don't know how long we've been here, and we won't feel the way we should while we're in it. So that's how it is, huh? This place is up from the very start in every way. I can't even use the emergency escape spell Azazel gave me. It won't work to get me out of here. It's not powerful enough. It takes a special kind of circle to bring us here. And Volley somehow obtained that. It's not Azazel's fault. He would have never suspected Volley could bring us here. I'll just have to stay stuck here and survive him as long as I can. Wait, but what the hell's the point of having these effects anyway? Not hungry or thirsty? Doesn't feel like a terrible thing to me. Huh, he scoffed. It's meant to sever your being. The senses you are accustomed and dulled completely, masked until they feel like they no longer exist. You don't get hungry, you don't get thirsty, you don't get sleepy, you don't feel all the pain. Soon enough, you start to feel completely disconnected from your body. Your mind will begin to fight it and stimulate feelings, random pains, sounds, and visions that don't actually exist. You'll begin to have warped memories of events and people in your life, or just lose them entirely. Your brain will start to create all of those things being taken from you, including memories to feel normal, but you truly can't fight it. The change is inevitable. As time passes, you begin to feel less human. You begin to remember less. You begin to remember differently. You begin to feel less present. You begin to feel less real. And finally, soon enough, Volley turned his back to me when I peered over my shoulder. He was looking at me with a chilling cold gaze. You will be driven mad. Ugh. Huh. Well, luckily for us, time we're spending here will only be enough to drive us a tiny bit mad. We should be relatively sane once we return, optimistically. So that's how it works, huh? Me, that ain't nice. I really hope I can retain my sanity while in here. Ravel, please lend me your strength. Besides, Volley spoke abruptly, with smirking slyly, it should be easier to retain our sanity so as long as it's both of us. If it only had been one of us to come in alone, we surely would have lost our minds in less than one day. Isolation makes a good match with disconnection after all, although also ironic. Is that so? Well, I'd prefer if it wasn't you I had to small talk and keep my sanity. Maybe I'd rather be alone. Huh, is that so? The time passed after that, though I couldn't tell how much. Our battles continued along with our conversations. What was only a week passed like a month. During one of our fights with Volley, boost times 10. I boosted my demonic power and breathed in some air. I concentrated a small flame that created from my magic and transferred the power to it. Then I blasted my flame straight at Volley. Boom! As the flames engulfed him, I heard him speak through them. Stop! I seized my flame. Stop. Volley appeared unharmed. Why the hell did he tell me to stop? Those flames. I sensed demonic power in them. I tilted my head at his comment. Well, yeah, obviously, they're spawned from my demonic power. He crossed his arms. Tuh, pathetic. You mean to say that the Red Dragon Emperor uses demonic power as measly substitute for flames rather than his own? What sort of joke is this? Huh? Of course I use my demonic power. How the else do I use my flames then? I'm not a dragon. I can't spawn in flames from my body naturally. I'm a devil, so I have to use demonic power, obviously. What is that supposed to mean? Volley scoffed. Huh, what a pathetic excuse. If your body cannot produce it, then why have your gear do it? You? Huh? I was shut down by confusion. Have my gear do it? What the hell is that supposed to mean? What do you mean have my gear do it? That doesn't make any sense. My gear doesn't have such an ability. Then make it. Make it? You can create an ability like that for my gear? Correct. Huh? The hell's that? There's no way I can do that. I can't just make changes to my gear willy-nilly. He scoffed. What nonsense! This is coming from the one who took a jewel from my armor and implemented it with his gear forcefully? A power of existence that is considered the polar opposite? Not to mention, you ended up unlocking the various forms of Triana which never existed before and continued to evolve them. Yet you say it's impossible? So you're just making pathetic excuses then. This... Is he incorrect, partner? What? Dreg? The Triana forms were never something that existed before. They were created as an illegal move within the evil peace system. You were the one that created them. Though subconsciously, you implemented them in the Harakaku gem in Ascalon, which is a holy dragon-slaying weapon, into your gear. Do you really find it unbelievable to somehow accomplish this? Well, that's... You won't try it? I'm interested in seeing an odd rapid developments of the god-killing Red Dragon Emperor in real time. Volley asked that with a sly smirk. This damn Bioshun. But is it really something I should be trying? I have a boosted gear. I can just boost my demonic power to high levels like I always do. Wouldn't that be just fine to do that? Volley shook his head at my question, though I wasn't necessarily asking him. For someone like me who is descendant of Lucifer, it is optimal to use my large reserves of demonic and magical power. However, someone like you, who was born with a normal human with low reserves, and even with the boosted gear, it is a bad method. It's only putting yourself at a disadvantage. Do you remember the first time we fought? The first time we fought? At school, yeah, I certainly remember that. At that time, I admitted that someone like you was much more compatible with a dragon's power than me. That is because of your personality and rage being so potent. But in the truth, this statement isn't true in every way. You, who was born a human, automatically had lower reserves than a normal after becoming a reincarnated devil. Then, it turned out that your reserves were lower than those amongst devils. Certainly, this must have been disheartening to learn, but it actually highlights something you've had something better than I all along. Something I've had better than you? Is that even possible? What could it be? He smirked. Huh, have you not been listening? It is your compatibility. My compatibility? Dragons are in existence that have a natural resistance to magic, most especially the heavenly dragons, who were practically invulnerable and in their prime. In turn, the host of the heavenly dragons are also resistant to magic in their gears. However, as a result of this, most heavenly dragon hosts also tend to have lower than normal magic reserves for humans. This is because the resistance, obviously. Even more than that, there's something that influences the amount of reserves a host has. This is their potential as a host. Your potential as a host is quite low. Meanwhile, mine was quite high. We both know this. However, there are times which potential can become higher. This is where your compatibility comes in. The fact that you are more compatible means that it's possible for your potential to become high. Would you like to take a gardener at where I'm getting at? Your compatibility is naturally high. That influences your low potential. It also became high. Do you know what the result of high compatibility is? Could it be high magic resistance? It seems like you've realized it. That's right. You have low demonic power because you have high compatibility with the boosted gear, which means you have high magic resistance. Even more than that, the fact that you have high compatibility also means that it's much easier for someone like you to influence your gear directly. You have done it many times, haven't you? Yet someone like me, who has very high potential, has never accomplished something similar. It took a simpleton like you in only seconds. You can influence your sacred gears you see fit. I don't see the limits of that influence, but that's exactly what interests me. So the point is, you can easily do such a thing. But there is also an interesting question that I want you to answer for yourself. If you have high compatibility as a dragon host, exactly how much powerful would those natural flames be compared to flames spawned from demonic power at their base level? The natural flames power? The power of flames spawned from my gear? Well, the flames I spawn from demonic power are like a matchlight. They only become feasible during combat, but I boost them to that level. So how powerful would those flames be at the start? Let's concentrate on making the proper modifications first, partner. Right. In that case, fine. Let me try it. Volley crossed his arms and floated across from me silently, waiting patiently. I shut my eyes to concentrate. Okay, let's do this. Breathing fire. Breathing fire. Using my gear? How would I do such a thing? Breathing fire through my mouth? Like a dragon? A mouth? Breathing mouth? I started to imagine the scale mail. As the mouth component, a mouth that opens. The mask splits in halves. A mouth, sharp teeth made out of red metal, just like armor. A mouth in armor. As I imagined it, my power began boosting without my consent, and a light began shining from the jewels of my armor. Boost! Shin! Breathing fire out of my mouth. Where did it come from? My body? My body can't make that. It's the body of a devil. Where would it come from? The armor? It would come from the armor? A component in the armor? What type? The image of the reptilian suddenly flashed through my mind. It spewed an acidic fluid through a gland in its mouth. Under its tongue, a gland. A small duct that spewed fluid. No, that spewed fire. The image of the reptilian changed. Instead of spewing acid, it began spewing fire. Fire through the gland. The image of the gland changed as well. It was replaced with a small armor-like component, shaped like a cannon similar to the ones the training of the bishops hold. Before I knew it, the image of the reptilian was replaced entirely, replaced by an image of scale mail shooting fire from the small cannon of its mouth. I was suddenly enveloped in light and power. Shin. Boost! Times 10. Drake, what? Is it really happening? Ha! Well done, partner. The light flashed before dying down. I could see what sounded like a pounding sound against metal. Dum! What light died down? Volley began laughing in amusement. Why is he? I lifted my hand and touched the helmet of my armor, and a mouth. There's a mouth there. A mouth in the middle with sharp teeth. There's something in the middle. Jutting out? A tongue? No, wait. It's a small cannon-like component. I did it. Well done, Issei Hyodo. Truly, you are an interesting rival. Now, let's test that out new function, shall we? Without my regard for my opinion, Volley forced me into testing it out and upgrade on him. The flames that were released were insane compared to the base level of flames from my demonic power. They were on par with the average level of flames boosted from demonic power at their base level. Not only that, but Volley wouldn't even let me boost them anyway. He wants them to become more powerful naturally, so every time I try to boost them, he just divides my power. So I gave up my shot flames without boosting, and as much as with force as I could. The component in my helmet reaches near my mouth. Whenever I want to shoot flames, I gather as much air as my lungs can handle, and I blew out the component like a whistle. Then flames burst forth from the other side out of the mouth. As Volley was being engulfed by the flames, what's wrong? Are these the most powerful flames that the Red Dragon Emperor of True Flames can muster? They are on par with those flames from before, but that makes their base level weak. Can you do no better? I began to feel enraged through all of the berating. Ever since this dimension, it became much easier for my temper to blow, most likely because of the dimension's influence. Boom! Come on! Burn, burn, burn brighter, burn hotter, burn wider, burn more and more, burn him, burn everything, burn it all, burn! I felt something deep within me stir, something small and quiet, but certainly tangible. Burn, goddammit! Burn him! Burn a fire that scorches everything. Burn fire that burns him to the very core. Burn that never dies. Burn, burn! Then the flames became immensely stronger, and the entire island was engulfed in them. Boom! Before I continued, my lungs ran out of breath. I brought in air with a sharp inhale and struggled to catch my breath. The flames surrounding Volley's form were blown away by his wings. The island remained in flames. Boom! Volley floated there with a smirk. His helmet was destroyed and his various parts of his armor, though he was relatively unscathed besides some burns. He looked down to his left arm and noticed that it was still burning. He patted it a few times and raised his brow, and he noticed that it didn't go out. He pointed his finger at it. Divide! It was snuffed out immediately. He snuffed his arm suspiciously for a few seconds. What? What is it? He shifted his gaze back at me and smirked again. Interesting. Tell me, Issei Hyodo. Have you ever thought of attempting something similar to attacks on the Meteor Dragon King Tanin? Tanin Oni-san. Oh, like one of his attacks. You mean like a meteor attack? Well, I've tried it. But as it turns out, it's impossible because I don't have a dragon's body. I can't replicate it the right way. I can do large fireballs, but they don't compare in power, speed, or scale. In terms of combat efficiency, it's always been more logical to use regular flames. Volley nodded his head with my expression that looked like he was contemplating. What's up with this? I'm trapped in here with Volley and we're actually training as if we're allies. What the fuck is my life even more? I see. Though it would be most interesting if you could conjure attacks that have more flexibility rather than a blanket of flames. It is if not feasible, then there's nothing we can do. Attacks that are more flexible. Yeah, that would have been cool. It certainly would have been better if I can do it things like Tanin Oni-san, with meteor strikes and such. Things like fireballs. I actually can't think of anything else. I'm not very creative. The best I can think of is like creating fire attacks from my hands like Riser or Ravel do. Huh? Wait, hold on. Volley, I have an idea. He smirked lightly. I can wait. His damn smile still gave me the creeps. I shut my eyes. Okay, so let's try making something that can spawn fire from my hands. I think I've gotten a good hang of this. I began to generate image of Riser and Ravel Phoenix, flames being spawned from out of the palms of their hands. Flames burst forth from their wings. The flames blew intensely. Flames from the palms of their hands. Powerful flames. Building. Growing. Heat. Flames. This time, I boosted my power intentionally. In the image of the scale mail boosting flames, its palms was in my mind. Boost times 5. Shin! I could feel a familiar feeling wash over me as I was enveloped by light. When the light died down, I opened my eyes. I looked around my armor. There were small ducts of my palms in the back of my wrist. They resemble little cannons in my helmet. I did it. These certainly can shoot flames, right? What the? There were also small ducts in between of the webbing skin of my wings, huh? What are these ducts? I can't even use them. When I concentrate, nothing comes out. Weird. Maybe they just don't do anything. As for the ones on my arms, boom! Flames. I could see flames out of them. In that case, boom! I spawned a flame in the palm of my hand and began to grow in my command. Not too powerful, but I can certainly do it. Just like a phoenix. Oh, well done. All right, let us just fly around some more, shall we? After that, more of our battles continued. I continued to train while using the new flame component in my scale mail. My flames wouldn't grow much in strength, but at that very least, I could boost them. They were easily more feasible during combat than when I used my demonic power. They took much less amount of boost to surpass or other flames, considering that I didn't need to boost my accidental demonic power. In fact, they would surpass an average amount of demonic flames with only a couple of boosts. Other flames, considering I didn't need to boost my more immeasurable amounts of time passed. Volley and I were sitting back to back, taking rest from our constant battles. I gazed into the red dimension. I could hear the screams that became white noise in the distance. Soon enough, I began in the inside of the club room, lit by the sunlight and filled with familiar people. Say, Volley, can I ask a question? I decided to start a conversation with Volley to avoid sinking in the hallucination set before my eyes. What is it? What do you think we would be doing if we were never born as the Red Dragon and White Dragon Emperors? Huh? What do you mean? Like, what would our lives be like, you know? Like, you ever thought about that? Volley didn't answer me. I went on. I think think if I wasn't the Red Dragon Emperor, I would probably just be like how I always was. I'd be a worthless pervert running around and peeping on girls, getting beaten up, being hated, and wasting my life away. Hell, I would probably even be an old hermit, telling perverted stories to little kids in the park. That'd be quite symbolic, wouldn't it? How so? Never mind. I laughed while Volley only raised a brow. So, how do you think what do you think you'd be doing? Me? Yeah, what do you think your life would be like if you weren't the White Dragon Emperor? If you were just a pure-blooded devil, you know? At that moment, Volley turned away from me and went completely silent. What I'd be doing, huh? Volley? He stood up without turning. I've grown tired of resting. Let's continue. Huh? We've only been resting for less than a minute, I think. Vanishing Dragon, Balance Breaker! I do not care. Our battles continued a while for after that. Volley did not speak during that time. Boom! Volley and I were fighting as per usual. He easily dodged one of my dragon shots that splashed into the sea of the bullying blood. I changed form into the Welch Draconic Rook. Volley extends his hand outward towards me and spawned a magic circle in his palm. Shin! Suddenly, an ambulance of magic circles surrounded me. I was caught in the barrier shape of a cube. They began shining brightly. These magic circles are... Do you recognize them? They are the Norse magic circles. Norse magic has always been more efficient, both for sealing magic and elemental magic. I prefer using them this way. The circles released brightly for a moment after he finished his sentence, and without warning, they began shooting powerful shots of demonic power straight at me altogether. Boom, boom, boom! I was bombarded by a astronomical amount of power shots to my body. My armor began cracking, began breaking apart. I could hear Volley from outside. Do you think you would have a chance in escaping this? I wonder how many shots you can take in that rook form of yours. For now, let's try 1,000. I continued being bombarded by the shots. Damn it. I decided a method to use Sun Wukong and flared my aura while boosting my power. Boost times 10. Oh! In the middle of the burst of my power, my concentration continued being disrupted by the damage caused me. Boom, boom, boom. Ugh! I can't concentrate like this. I can't focus on controlling my power. I can't even attack the sides because I've been blowing back in the middle of the cube. I can't break out. As the attack continued, I could feel familiar rage building along with my power. Boost times 5. Ugh, gosh damn it! What's wrong? Can you not break free? A dragon in existence that cannot be restricted, isn't that right? Are you not the Red Dragon of Domination? Ah! Boost times 5. As my power increased, my rage began building. As I could feel a certain pressure release from my body, it began to burn my skin and armor. Boost times 5. No prison can contain me. Boost times 20. Not even voice. The heavens! My voice boned out and echoed throughout the dimension, almost as if I wasn't only releasing it. Ah! It felt like there was a red dust covering my view. It began to clear after a short while. It was only then I noticed my fist was planted inside of the ground of the island. The entire island around me had turned from red sand into what looked like the island of broken molten rock and steam. What? My hand was releasing steam. Most of my armor had broken off. My arm, which was planted in the ground, was bare of its armor. It was releasing steam as well. More than that, my arm was covered in a dark ash skin, like soot, and circular symbol and was glowing orange light. Who are you? I looked up to Volley, who I noticed was floating in the air above me. What? He narrowed his eyes. I wasn't speaking to you. It was silent soon enough. Red sand began pouring out from the cracks of the island and covering it, essentially turning it back to normal. I had only noticed now that despite originally being made of sand, it had become more of a giant molten rock just like before, almost as if power of strikes crystallized and sand into rock and broke it as would fell swoop. Volley descended onto the island. I removed my hand from the sand, my arm. It's only part of me that liked ash like on the skin on it. This is the only symbol that's glowing, and the sand isn't affecting the skin on it? Strength. I failed to notice at the time, but unlike before, there was no damage left on the arm after using it. Issei, would you mind handing these out? Yes, Joe. It took papers which Joe handed me. She didn't have a face. I began handing them out to all the club members. None of them have faces. What are these, President? Kiba asked in curiosity, and she began explaining. All right, everyone, the seventh circle. Scrooge! Issei Hyodo. Issei Hyodo. Issei Hyodo. Ah! I screamed as I opened my eyes. What? Volley? I turned my head back. Volley was sitting back to back with me like it was with a rest between battles. Battles? You should refrain from falling asleep from now on. It's easier in this dimension to influence you in your sleep. What is the mind is the most active. Besides, you do not feel the need to sleep, right? What? I looked around. I was in a red dimension. I realized I regained my bearings. That's right. This is the seventh circle of hell. Violence. That's right. I was brought here by Valley. This is my last trial. My name is Issei Hyodo. I remember my parents. I remember my friends. I remember the school co-academy. Okay, I think I'm all right. I almost forgot the most important thing. The woman I love is everything blurred. Ah! I gripped my head in pain. Ah, what the was that? Oh, shit. I was trying to think of something, but suddenly, it hit my skull. I saw a distorted image. Who was that? It looked like two people at the same time. I could vaguely make out a color, though. Something bright. Issei Hyodo. My bad. I'm here in hell. Sorry, somehow I felt really sleepy all of a sudden. I guess it was a part of those fake sensations you were talking about earlier. I see. I took a deep breath as I calmed myself. Ah, shit. That was scary. I guess I won't be asleep anymore. I'm here, even if I get sleepy. I sighed. Well, since I shouldn't fall asleep, I may as well try to keep myself awake. Guess I'll make a conversation then. Hey, Volley. What? How did you become a terrorist? I mean, how come you become a terrorist? Huh? He tilted his head. To fight strong opponents, of course. It's not possible to fight the strongest if people are allies with them. You do really love fighting that much, huh? Has it not been made clear? I turned away and looked out into the red sky. I don't get it. How can you be so obsessed with fighting? Isn't there anything else you find interesting in your life? Perhaps, however. Nothing so much as fighting. Seriously? I didn't understand it. The only thing Volley values in life is fighting. Really? Is there nothing he finds more compelling? What about a person? No one? What about a Volley? What do you think about Azazel? Azazel? Yeah, ain't he like your old man or something? Old man? Yes. He certainly is an ancient being. No, that's not what I meant. I meant like he raised you, right? Like for a long time? Yes, that is true. A great deal of my life was spent under Azazel's guardianship. Right, so what do you think of him? I still don't understand the question. Well, to me, he's an irreplaceable sensei. Even if he's annoying or pisses me off sometimes, I still can't imagine what my life would be like without him. In a way, he is similar to a second father figure to me, beyond just a mentor, you know? So I went quiet for a bit before asking, isn't he like your father? It went dead silent. I couldn't even hear the noise in the background. Volley stood up. Not like him. Huh? Volley whispered something I couldn't hear. Huh? What was that? What did he say? After some seconds of silence, Volley spoke. I have grown tired of it. Get up. Vanishing Dragon. Balance Breaker! Again, similar to the last time, I was forcibly brought into another battle. During our rest, same as always. So what is it exactly you find interesting about butts? Don't call me that. My apologies, Mr. Kyoto. I will kill you where you stand. I am sitting down, Mr. Kyoto. Enough, partner. Stop insulting our rival. Huh? Even Drake is against me on this. Much appreciated, Drake. I'm afraid in my strength is not enough to withstand the power of Ket, of such an insult. I understand it, Albion. I understand the trauma. I understand it too well. The pain, it is truly mortifying. Even I, the Red Dragon Emperor, cannot withstand such overwhelming evil. None truly deserve such suffering, not even you. I see. And yet, I truly do not understand the level of suffering you have withstood all the time on your own. To believe my internal rival has been subjugated to such a thing. It is the greatest insult. I cannot fathom the torture. It compels me to evaporate all of those who have referred you by that name out of existence. Yes. I as well. If only I had the power at the very least, I may seek comfort in the truth that you have not subjugated to the same torture. At very least, your reputation remains untainted. For you to have said that, Drake, have you truly suffered so, my rival? I have, Albion. I have. Disgusting, unforgivable. Volley, from this day forth we shall exterminate any of those who dare speak that cursed name. All those who referred my rival as the disgraceful Chinkyori shall perish. Thank you, Albion. There is no excuse for such humiliation. I will not allow it. Even if I must destroy the world, I will not allow it. I see. Oi, what the... Volley, our partners are suddenly bonding with each other in a creepy way. Albion, I never realized you felt that way. Very well. I agree. I shall eradicate any of those who speak that name. If it is for the sake of Albion, then I will make it vow. Huh? Am I the only one out of the loop here? What the... Everyone's bonding without me? What's happening? Is this some kind of weird dream? Is this a hallucination from a nightmare dimension? Fuck it. Anyway, forget about that. About my question. What is it you find so compelling about butts? That's my question. Volley answered blankly. It wasn't necessarily butts, but rather it was the hips that I found most attractive on a woman. Odin was the one implied I was the opposite of you in that manner. Is that so? Well, nevertheless, why do you find such a thing attractive? Well, if I had to say, it is because it's the greatest representation of womanhood. The hips of a woman are what indicates whether she has a childbearing nature. Somehow, I find it alluring when a woman possesses that quality. Childbearing hips. I see. So that's it. I guess that's the way we are the same. I find Opie to be amazing because they are a representation of womanhood as well, or motherhood, since, you know, women breastfeed their children when they're babies. It is the essence of a womanhood and motherhood. You have an attraction to your mother? What? No, you shithead. That's not right at all. There's no way that's in my case. My mom's an old hag. I may be a pervert, but I'm not that fucking sick. What a disrespectful way to refer to your mother. The mother what you called unforgivable for me to threaten of your life of? Oh, well, yeah, no, that is something, that is that, and that is this. Something like this is still going too far. Obviously, I mean, I still love my mom with all my heart, but that doesn't mean I want to, What an odd one you are, rival. You're one to talk? Jeez. Anyway, if I was somehow perverted enough to be attracted to my mom, bleh, then I would certainly not get along with her as a woman. She's too bossy and noisy. It gets really annoying since she's a stickler for the rules. She's simply too uptight. People say that men look at women for their mothers. No way. I prefer women who are laid back and forgiving, not my mom. Is that so? Well, to draw out such a reaction from you, she certainly seems like an amusing character. No way. She's a demon. Is that so? Well, at the very least, you are similar now. Oh shit, he laughed like that. I've never heard him in a laugh in our conversations. Actually, I didn't even know it was possible to make him laugh in that way because of a joke. I guess he likes this topic. Well, anyway, that's enough about my old lady, I guess. What about yours? What was your mother like? It immediately went dead silent. Volley stood up. I sighed. Well, I suppose I've done it again, but along with our battles, our conversations would continue. Yeah, there was the first time my old man took me fishing. I ended up breaking his fishing rod, and I felt unbelievably guilty about it. Even to this day, it's something that bothers me sometimes. Something so long ago in the past? Well, yeah, I mean, the day meant a lot to him, and I just ruined it. Weren't you a child? Yeah, but still. It seems absurd to me to be concerned with something so minor that happened so long ago. It only proves your life was uneventful. If you had known true suffering, then something so minuscule would have been easily brushed aside after the heftier trauma. Don't you think I know that? I know that, obviously. I just can't help but think about it sometimes, I mean, yeah, it may not have meant much back then, but what it got worse over the years. Like, if it was festering a wound or something, and every time I did stupid things and made my parents' lives worse with my antics, it somehow made that one little incident seem so much worse. What if that moment began to take a new meaning because of everything I was doing in the present? What if that was just the first seed of hatred I planted? Volley scoffed. What nonsense. You are a daft Red Dragon Emperor. As if such a small thought is constantly present within the mind to this point. Relationships aren't so fickle, at least not in that regard. It's ridiculous to assume so. An extreme and most likely unrealistic conclusion. Volley said those harsh words callously. Well, I mean, I guess. I know it's crazy to assume my dad would hate me for that, but I can't help but think about it sometimes, I guess it's because I feel alone sometimes, Being who I was, I didn't really get accepted by society very easily, and my only friends I ended up having were deplorable perverts like me, so there were times when I couldn't help but feel lonely. I never showed it, but I felt that way, especially since I was ruining my parents' lives. I couldn't help but thinking in that feeling alone. Is that so? Yeah. I see. It went quiet for a bit. I started thinking about Volley's words earlier. True suffering, huh? Volley was raised by Azazel after he found him. And considering what he's like and the things he says, I guess his life wasn't nice after all. That makes me think. It took a bit of breath before I spoke. I said something that I never thought I would ever say. Hey, Volley. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what sort of trauma compelled you to become like how you are now, as a terrorist and as a person, but do you ever think that if things were different, if somehow you didn't have to go through all that you went through, you think things might have ended up, we might have ended up being allies or maybe even friends? The familiar silence returned, but this time for much longer. Volley did not make a single move. I couldn't hear him breathe. Nothing but the sound of absolute silence. Volley did not stand. Instead, we remained there in silence for an immeasurable amount of time. Volley did not speak for what felt like many days. I spit out some blood and wiped my lip. I dispersed my armor. I had just finished another battle with Volley, like usual. It was a quiet fight. He hasn't spoken since our last conversation a while ago. I wonder if he'll even talk again. Well, just as I thought, Issei Hyodo. Volley called out to me. I turned around, but he wasn't facing me. He was brushing off his arms and shoulders after he was done. He stood there quietly for a second. I was confused, but he spoke quietly once more. I have thought of it. What? He didn't say anything after that. Instead, he just walked off to one of the edges of the island and looked onto the red sky silently. The silence between us, during and after the battles, returned. I could hear the mini screams in the distance as I looked out into the red sky while crossing my arms. How long will we be here, man? Ravel, I don't want to be here anymore. I want to return. I want to be with you, and I'm afraid I don't want to forget you. Issei Hyodo. Volley called out to me. I turned around. Volley was the opposite side of the island, standing near the edge with his hands in his pockets. His gaze was set down to the suffering souls of men clutching and struggling to reach the island. I couldn't see all of his gaze, only his eyes. His usual cold or cool stare. Instead, there was a hollow look, almost if it was loneliness. The first time we battled, I threatened to kill your family. I said that for the purpose of getting you to hate me. It was an easy method, but also a weak one. It was simply for the purpose to get you to loathe me as quickly as possible so that you would face me without reservation. Only because I believed that we were destined to hate each other, because we were rivals. That's essentially all there was to it. I thought no less or no more of it. I narrowed my eyes, but remained silent. The silence lingered for a few seconds. As I was about to turn back around, he spoke again. Issei Hyodo, despite having your life set on the prospects, you still plan to face me one day. Yeah, that's right. I promised we'd settle the score. I see. What would that mean to be our last fight? I see. Would that mean to be our last fight? I scoffed and looked away. I never planned to kill you. The silence returned to fill our ears. As I was peering off to the distance, he spoke again. Issei Hyodo, I have a question. What is it? Do you loathe me? Silence. No. I see. I turned around and looked up to the sky for what felt like a century. I truly did not know how much time passed until Issei Hyodo. I turned back around one last time while he was still facing away. I apologize for that time. The silence from before returned once again, but this time I was the one left utterly and completely silent. I burned some sand in the palm of my hand, flames until it crystallized into a solid. When it did, I tossed it into the sea of boiling blood so that it would skip like a rock. It didn't. It only ended up catching fire immediately upon contact. Well, as expected, I know it may be odd to play this little game here, but if it helps, it keeps my sanity, then who cares? It's not like Volley and I have talked in a while anyway. Speaking of, I looked back. Volley had become his usual spot, the other ledge of the island. As soon as I laid my eyes on him, I got lost in my thoughts again, the ones from what he said before. Volley. I called out to him from my place. He turned to me, but I did not turn to him. I said only one thing. I forgive you. I see. With that, our familiar silence returned, but unlike before, there was a subtle, quiet sense of comfort in it. Rivals. Ew. I scrunched my nose as I smelled something absolutely horrid in my surroundings. Must be another stimulated smell, huh? Oi, Volley, you smell this or am I just hallucinating again? I asked Volley, but he didn't answer. Was he being silent again, or conversations he returned though? Maybe he didn't hear me. Volley? I turned around. Volley was looking down at his wrist. A complex magic circle was resting on it. Oh, it seems our time is finally up, Issei Hyodo. Shin! Just as he said that, a magic circle appeared on my wrist as well. What? You mean it's over? I get to go home? I looked back up to Volley. He was smirking. Well, I suppose that's it then. Not only are you the first Longinus user to slay a god, but you are now the only living beings to have visited this realm. Besides me, of course. But at least, we are the only two living beings to have resided within it for this long. Congratulations. That's what he said? Really? We're the only ones that really done this? That's pretty insane. I couldn't imagine what the masses would think if they found out about it. I wonder if anyone would ever know. Well then, Issei Hyodo, it's been interesting, but it seems this is where we part ways for now. Yeah, seems like it. It looks like I wasn't able to kill you in the end. Huh, a shame. Huh, yeah, I guess. Well anyway, I'll make sure to keep my vow to Albion and Drake about the issue earlier. I'll be sure to properly eradicate those who speak of that name, on behalf of our honor as rivals and respect to you too, I suppose. Huh, thanks. But if you kill any kids, I'll eliminate you. Oh, how chilling, yet amusing. I'll be sure to keep that in mind. Shin! Within the next second, magic circles spawned beneath our feet and began to envelop us in light. I'll be watching your victory against Biel. Be sure to keep it interesting, though, so that you don't defeat him too quickly. Yeah, don't worry. I'll make sure to show him the heavenly dragons are made of. I'll be looking forward to it. God-killing Red Dragon Emperor. The magic circle slowly blinded me as I gave the last words to Volley. Thank you. Volley. Thank you. The light blinded me, and Volley said one last thing I could not hear. Likewise. Shin. When I opened my eyes, I was only 50 meters outside the Gagar. I'm home. I immediately ran inside. I didn't pay much mind to those greeting me or asking me why I was torn up or dirty, or instead, I ran into Azazel's office. Issei, there you are. He stood from his desk as I entered. How long have I been gone? 9 days. Where did he take you? Oh, that's a long story. I explained to him. Slam. The seventh circle of hell? Unbelievable. That damned brat. It's no wonder those emergency return circles didn't work. Azazel slammed his fist on the table in frustration. Azazel, if I had been gone for 9 days, and that means his head nodded. The game is tomorrow. He ended up handing me a tiny body. It resembled the rejuvenation bonus I took before fighting Atlas. Not much, but certainly better than having it. I downed it quickly. I'm afraid we can't. He left thinking about this now. You need to get some go rest. Regain your bearings. It's already evening by now. Rest your mind and body. Relax and meditate. Tomorrow, a big day arrives. Get yourself ready. This is what we prepared you for. Can you do it? I nodded my head firmly. Yes. He nodded back. All right. Go now. She's waiting for you. I left without hesitation. I'm back, Ravel. I made it on the floor what felt like seconds. I didn't hesitate in entering. Ravel was sitting on the bed silently while looking at a photo we took together during the cultural festival. Issei-sama. She immediately jumped off the bed and embraced despite my physical state. I'm sorry. No. As long as you come back, I will always be happy. Possibly because we have been unexpectedly separated, we held no reservations in expressing our current feelings. I looked into Ravel's deep sea blue eyes. Tomorrow is the game. Yes, Ravel. I held onto her shoulders. Will you stay with me tonight? She smiled. There is nowhere else I'd rather be. I bent down and kissed the top of her head. We brought ourselves to the bed and laid in each other's arms without reservation. Tomorrow is the day, the big day, the game. No, not just that. Tomorrow is the day. I go home. It's time. It's time to go home. But first, I'll have to get through you, Sire Orgbiel. Or more accurately, you'll have to come through me. Bring it on. And that is the end of Chapter 10. Chapter 9. Rivals. Wow, that was a pretty good one, right? That was the shortest chapter we've had so far. Thank the Lord, right, because my God, dude, that was a tough one. It doesn't seem like there is a chapter. Well, 11 is called the. Oh my God. Okay. The next one is probably 3 hours, if I were to guess. And I'm not looking forward to that. Like, I'm looking at it right now, and my God, the one chapter alone is 50,000 words. I think I might end up dying. So thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. That was a short chapter right into the next chapter that's probably going to take me multiple days to do. But, oh my God. Chapter 12 is also just as long. Chapter 13 is also just as long. Yeah, I'm cooked. Okay. Well, look forward to the next chapter. It's called The Fool, and I'm going to head out. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Spartanic Arts DxD out.